what would we do about it? We're going into a new month. How many of you say you had a heck of July? Had a great July. Yeah, had one heck of a July. I got that. I bear witness. I say yes and amen. Who else can I pick on? One heck of a July. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Traveling was great, wasn't it? To and from, don't get any sleep. You got two to work on. Great. It's been great. Great July, right? Have to deal with the heat. Been wonderful. Loved it. Cases. Wonderful July. Everybody is after us. Been a wonderful July. If that's what you think, August is right around. You'll wake up and say, "Good Lord, it's another month." And say, "Good Lord, thank you for the opportunity to serve you. I look forward with anticipation and excitement about what you're going to do in my life in August. Because I've made a change. I've crossed over. I'm full of faith. I'm expecting things to be different." Oh, yeah, over there in the white. Heck of a July. It's a great July. Yeah. Yeah, I can just look around the room and tell you. It's been a great July. Oh, yeah, it's really been a great July. I was telling my wife just yesterday, I said the 4th of July was so long ago. Doesn't it seem like it was so long ago? We haven't even got out of the month yet. And August is coming. And the water's bad. And people are suing while they're taking copper out of air conditioners and just leaving them. I had a thought, by the way, when I didn't feel the air conditioning like I should have. I thought maybe someone came and took the copper. Because they are doing that now. So it's a new way to do things. I can still stay cool inside. I had faith to a point. When I used to work in Orlando, and Phyllis will back me up on this, I had a station wagon. Who remembers my white station wagon? You guys remember my white station wagon? The air was out. I was working as a financial advisor, so Larry would appreciate this. How do you dress? Shirt and tie and jacket every day. I had my shirt and tie and jacket on, and I determined to myself that I would not sweat, because I can't sweat. You sweat when you go see a client, you got big things in your armpits and stuff, you know, and just, oh boy, it's really hot out there. They're like, well, you got about 5 minutes, and I want you out of the house. You got to be nice looking. You know, they come in the office, you got to be nice looking. So I determined I'm not going to sweat. I was good. This is my testimony. I was good to 92 degrees. If it reached 92, baby, I'm cool. I wouldn't sweat. 93 was another story. I couldn't take 93. I could handle 92. I was good to 92 degrees. But that's where my faith was at. And I lived that way. I mean, I could tell you story after story after story. I just laugh of all the stories. I got stories. How many of you got stories about what God did? The difference between us and what they did in the Old Testament is you don't carry a staff. They carried a staff, and they wrote. Who can say that's right? They wrote on their staff all the history of what God did. So if anybody was to look at their staff and say, my God. But you carry it on who you are. You carry it on who you are. Now listen, I don't look for trouble. I've had my share of it. And I have people that say to me, Vince, you've had more than your share of trouble. I don't know how in the world you do what you do. And I had a talk with God this week. I've been hanging around Bruce. You've got to be careful. You're going to hang around Bruce, you're going to start talking to God differently. He has a fiddler on the roof mentality when it comes to God. He's like, hey, God, in the office, we're going to talk. So, I had a talk with God this week, because churches all over, it's tough. It's tough. When people don't have money, churches don't. You struggle to pay bills. Where's my faith at? My faith is the same as always been. From starting out, there's going to be 20 years on 2013, 20 years in ministry. I have to look back at that and say, hey, we did it. Do you know the average pastor stays in office 5 to 7 years now? They're losing 150 pastors a month. That's on the low side, because they can't take the pressure. Everybody thinks, well, it's a big church, big money, big headaches. Everybody's going through something. Everybody's going through a change. But the reality is, when will the church wake up? And so, in my week, for those of you who know, what's our big door that's opened up to us? Who can say? What's our big door? It's the kids. I mean, I'm 59 years old. You know, I like putting the guitar on, playing a little grunge music. Maybe somebody didn't like it. Made me feel young. You know, I had somebody say to me this week, "You act like you're 27 years old." I don't have a choice. I got so much that I've got to do. I can't act like my age. But I actually said to the Lord this week, you know, you really got a sense of humor. I said, here I am in a 6,000 square foot building. We haven't filled this building. And when I was a young pastor, I might as well make a confession. You know what my thoughts were when we hit this land? I said, well, bless God. You know, the way things go nowadays, I'll just fill this church. We'll fill it. We'll pack it out, 2 services. And then we'll move up on the hill. We'll build a bigger one. That's what everybody does. And God said, oh, really? Oh, really? So my life hasn't changed. It's been faith, 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 faith all along. So this week, here I am. I'm struggling. And we've had some great news. I wanted to tell you about it. You know, you knew about the building. You know, we had a building. I was saying, okay, that's wonderful. We got another building. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Twice as big as this one. So if you know what this one costs, imagine what that one costs to build. I'm thinking, oh, yeah. So then we lost the building. We didn't have it anymore, and I didn't really care. Then I got a phone call this week that said, hey, guess what? The building's being delivered next week. I said, And then, me, you know, I don't want to use stupid, so let me just say temporarily insane. I had a moment of insanity. And I went over there, and they had a bunch of bushes in the back. You get to see them today. There are all these hedges in the back of the dealership over there. And, you know, I was looking at those hedges. I said, what are you going to do with them hedges? The guy said, we're going to destroy them. I said, you're not going to use them? I said, can I have them? Sure. Well, the hedges are this big. You know, when the hedge is this big, you can imagine what the roots are. It was for free. So I figured, hey, have a heyday. And I said, you got to make sure they got a root ball. Oh, yeah, they'll have a root ball. So they had the big old handle. You know how big? I mean, you have to climb to get in. He stuck those forks down in there. And when he pulled the thing up, one of them probably weighed 70 to 100 pounds. I'm getting 3 at a crack. I borrowed Jack's trailer, put them in there, take them to my house. And then I just thought, by curiosity, God, while I'm doing this, you have an angel dig a hole big enough to put the thing in. I get back, no angel. So I said, I'll go ahead and do it myself. So I got them in there. And then I started to realize, you don't get them in, they're going to die on me. So I planted 18 of them. And after I was done with 18, and my back was killing me, I said, I don't want any more. So I gave it to somebody else. Well, but that was one day of temporary insanity. It came back. I'm driving through one day. I look down. I see big, huge dealership lights. Big ones. They're like $10,000 a piece. They got the concrete with them and everything. So I said to myself, well, what are they going to do? Those things are probably just going to destroy them. So I went over to Hubert, who's the project manager. I said, Hubert. He said, yeah, Vince, how you doing? I said, good. What are you going to do with those lights? He said, well, there's a girls' softball team that's claimed them, but he said if they don't come get them, would you like some? I said, yeah. So he said, okay, they'll take them. I figured they'd take them. He comes over in his truck one day. He said, I'm bringing 4 of them over today. So he put them over in the back there. You see the big dealership lights. Now, don't laugh. It gets better. I get a phone call, and this person on the other end of the phone says, I got great news for you. I said, really? He said, yep, the building is yours. It's coming next week. Yeah, it's really good news. Thanks a lot. So I got another barn, and 4 big, huge lights. And so I reach to my place, am I talking to people that I know? Am I talking to you? Is this in your shoes? Do you live where I live? Do you have conversations like this? I said, hey, big man. I really didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. He's the big man. I said, hey, can we talk a little bit? I mean, just, you got a building here, and you're struggling to pay bills. Because it really is. It's not mine. I just said, your name's at stake. You got to pay these bills. And now, you got a 12,000 square foot building and 4 big lights to put up. Where are you going to get the money to do this? I actually said that to him. I have yet to get a response. Because I know he's thinking about it.